Hi, welcome to the DK9 Movie Storyline channel. This movie is really cool. It has lots of fantastic action and a very exciting story. It was released in 2021 and is called Spider-Man No Way Home. Let's review the movie. Hey guys, you remember in the last movie when Mysterio framed Spider-Man? He sent a video to the media and said Spider-Man was the one who killed him. In the recording, Mysterio also revealed Spider-Man's true identity, Peter Parker, to everyone. Some people still consider Mysterio a hero, which is really sweet. They're upset and accuse Spider-Man of being the murderer. Peter, Aunt May, Ned, and even MJ are interrogated by the police about Mysterio's death. Some folks have also had some criticisms of Peter. I'm so glad that Peter still has Ned and MJ by his side. Luckily, a kind lawyer named Matt Murdock steps in to help Peter. He's so kind, he gets Peter off all charges. But poor Peter is still suffering from the actions of those who don't like him. Happy then invites Peter and Aunt May to move in with him because he wants to keep them safe. In the end, Peter, MJ, and Ned manage to graduate from high school. The three of them are working hard to get into MIT, and they're all really excited about the opportunity. But when they open the letters from MIT, they're in for a surprise. They find out that they've been rejected because of their connection to Spider-Man, who's been accused of a crime. I really feel like they could have easily gotten into MIT because they're all so smart. MJ and Ned let Peter know they were doing well, but Peter knew that his two friends were really disappointed. After seeing the wizard-shaped light, Peter had a brilliant idea. In secret, Peter went to Dr. Strange's headquarters to ask for help. When Peter entered, he was delighted to see the whole room covered in snow. Then, he met Wong, who was tidying up after a little bit of chaos at the portal to the North Pole. After Dr. Strange arrived, Peter asked him to go back in time and prevent Mysterio from revealing his identity. I understand that would be really hard on him and the people closest to him. Dr. Strange apologized because he couldn't do it. The time stone had disappeared. Peter felt a bit let down. When Peter heard this, Wong was there to cheer him on, saying that everyone would forget eventually. It turned out that Wong's words reminded Dr. Strange of something. Dr. Strange says there's a spell called Runkoval. This spell is like a magic eraser. It can make everyone forget about something that happened, and you don't even have to go back in time. Wong kindly asks Dr. Strange not to cast the spell because he thinks it might be too dangerous. But don't worry, Wong. Dr. Strange says it's going to be easy to make everyone forget Peter's identity. Wong, feeling a bit uneasy, decides to step away to avoid any potential complications. Strange then kindly took Peter into the basement. Dr. Strange began reciting the spell. He said that no one would ever forget that Peter was Spider-Man. But Peter's presence did disrupt Dr. Strange's concentration. He asked some of his closest friends, like Aunt May, MJ, Ned, and Happy, to remember him. This made Dr. Strange unable to concentrate, causing the spell to go wrong. Thankfully, Dr. Strange was able to control it. Otherwise, something bad would have happened. Dr. Strange then gently chided Peter, reminding him that the problem he was facing was really quite minor. Right now, Peter's having a hard time because he's living two different lives. One as Peter, and one as Spider-Man. When it came to his studies, Dr. Strange kindly suggested that Peter meet with the university authorities to see if they'd be open to accepting his friends. After getting some great advice from Dr. Strange, Peter gave Flash a call. Flash had been accepted into MIT, so he was in a good place. Flash let him know that the person handling MIT's new student admissions was on his way to the airport. Peter hurried to catch up with him on the street. After searching for a while, Peter finally found the person he was looking for. Her name was Ms. Mia. Peter then convinced Ms. Mia that MJ and Ned were very smart. They both deserved to be admitted to MIT. All of a sudden, Peter got the feeling that something was wrong. In the distance, people could be seen running for their lives. Peter told Ms. Mia to run away, but she was locked inside the car, And then, out of nowhere, this tentacled man named Dr. Otto showed up. He recognized Spider-Man, but Peter didn't recognize him at all. Otto looked a little upset with Spider-Man, but Peter was still a bit confused and didn't quite understand what was going on. Then Otto threw a car. I'm so relieved to tell you that Peter was able to save the passengers in the car. Peter and Otto were in a fierce battle, but they were both doing their best. Peter was trying to focus on his task, but he also had to lend a hand to Mrs. Lusatri, who was about to take a fall. Then Otto gently caught Peter with his tentacles. The tentacles unfortunately damaged Peter's nanotechnology-made costume. You're going to be amazed when you find out how Otto's nanotechnology and tentacles have been combined. Otto tried to stab Peter, but Peter quickly moved his mask to cover the damaged costume so he wouldn't get hurt. Otto was surprised to see Peter's face. He wasn't the Peter Otto knew. Thanks to the nanotechnology that had taken hold of Otto's body, Peter finally gained control over him, which made Otto unable to move. Peter then saved Mrs. Mia. Mrs. Mia thanked Peter for saving her. She promised to give Peter and his friends the opportunity to attend MIT. Then, out of the blue, someone called Green Goblin swooped in. But then, Peter suddenly popped into the portal that Dr. Strange had made, heading for the basement. Dr. Strange also brought Otto there, along with a lizard monster named Dr. Connors. Strange said that the Runkoval spell he had just cast had attracted everyone who knew Peter Parker as Spider-Man from other universes to come here. It seems that Strange locked the spell, but some of it did manage to escape. Strange asked Peter to find the other creatures who had entered this universe. Strange gives Peter a portal shot that will automatically transport anyone hit by it into prison. Meanwhile, Dr. Strange himself will look for a way to send them all back to their respective universes. Peter is happy to help, but he needs a little help from Ned and MJ. Peter then calls Ned and MJ to help him out. Dr. Strange kindly asks the three of them to work in the basement to start looking for creatures from other universes. After searching for a while, Ned finds something suspicious in the military research facility. Peter's got a hunch it's the Goblin, but Otto's convinced him that the Green Goblin, or Norman Osborn, is long gone. They're all a little confused about what's going on, and that's totally understandable. Peter then heads to the military research facility to investigate. At first, the place is pitch black, but suddenly sparks of electricity form a human figure. I'm so happy to tell you that it turns out to be Max, the Electric Man. Peter tries to shoot Max with a portal blast, but the shot misses. Max then starts to attack Peter non-stop. Then, the Sandman, Flint Marko, shows up and protects Peter from Max's electric attacks. Peter asked Flint to keep Max busy. Peter then destroyed the power source there. After the power source was gone, Max returned to his normal human form. After Peter explained to Max and Flint that they came from another universe, Peter immediately sent them both to prison. Then Peter got a call from Aunt May. She told him that Norman Osborn was with her. Peter was worried, so he hurried to see Aunt May. When Norman arrived, he was surprised to see that Peter Parker wasn't the person he remembered. Norman looked terrified. Thankfully, he was conscious again. The Green Goblin had not possessed him. Norman said he was a bit lost because, in this universe, there wasn't an Oscorp to be found. Aunt May asked Peter to lend a hand to Norman Osborn and the folks from another universe who were stuck there. Then Peter took Norman to see Dr. Strange. When they arrived, Otto was shocked, unable to believe that in his universe, Norman was dead. Flint, who was like a brother to him, came from the same universe and confirmed this. Flint said that Otto and Norman died while fighting Spider-Man, which is such a sad loss. It turns out that it wasn't just Otto and Norman, but Max and Connors also died while fighting Spider-Man in their universe. They were all trapped in this universe right before they died fighting Spider-Man. Dr. Strange shows up, and right away he sends Norman to prison. Dr. Strange has a special magic box that can undo spells and send everyone from other universes back to their own. When Peter heard this, he asked Dr. Strange not to send them back yet, as some of them might perish. But Dr. Strange didn't seem to care, because it was their destiny. Peter felt sorry for them, and he took the box to stop Strange from sending them back. Peter then manages to escape. Strange immediately chases after Peter and separates his spirit from his body. Strange tries to take the box, but Peter's body still possesses spider sense, so he can't. After Peter woke up, Dr. Strange trapped him in a mirror dimension. Dr. Strange kindly asks Peter to return the box, but Peter's optimistic. He believes he can change Norman's fate and the fate of the others. After spending some time in the mirror dimension, Peter finally understands that the mirror dimension operates under geometric rules. Peter, who has a knack for mathematics, uses this to hold Dr. Strange back and reclaim the magic box. Peter also takes Dr. Strange's magic ring so that Strange can't escape. Peter then heads back to the basement. Peter kindly gives Dr. Strange's magic ring to Ned. Peter then kindly explains that he'll create an antidote for Norman and his friends, so they can be good again and not die when they return to their respective universes. Norman kindly offers to help. When the lizard monster hears this, it feels a bit hopeless, but Peter doesn't let that stop him. He's determined to help them all. Then Peter gives the magic box to MJ and Ned to hide it somewhere safe, just in case something goes wrong. Peter kindly tells MJ to press the button in the middle of the box to activate the magic so that the monsters can return to their respective universes. Then, Peter and Aunt May kindly took Norman and the others to Happy's apartment, but the lizard monster decided not to go, so it stayed right where it was in the truck. Peter then activated the Stark Industries machine called the Fabricator. This incredible machine has the power to analyze and create almost anything you can imagine. Peter and Norman were quick to create a special tool that could help Dr. Otto. They wanted to free him from the hold his tentacles had on him. Once the chip was ready, Peter was so excited to help that he immediately implanted it into Dr. Otto's body. Amazingly, Peter was able to help Otto, and the tentacles no longer had a hold on him. Otto, who was a bit doubtful at first, is now ready and willing to lend a hand to help Peter save the others. And now, it's time for Max to shine. Peter kindly attaches a device that can absorb the electrical current in Max's body. Max is a little hesitant about being helped because he's afraid of going back to being an ordinary person who might be judged. But Flint convinced him, saying that the sooner Peter helped them, the sooner they could go back to their own universes. All of a sudden, Peter had a bad feeling in his gut. Peter finally realized that Norman was once again possessed by the Green Goblin. Aunt May, who was terrified, then took all the medicine formulas that Peter was making. Here, Norman helped the others see that their powers were a gift, not a curse. Hearing this, Max decided to remove the device from his chest. He took the arc reactor from the Fabricator machine, which made him very powerful. Max then kindly asked Otto to leave the building. When he saw this, poor Flint ran away. Peter fought Norman with all his might, and in the process, the apartment building was destroyed. Peter was able to evade Norman's attack, but the lizard monster threw him into the building. Then Norman threw Peter into the lobby. Aunt May tried to give the little goblin some medicine, but it didn't work. Peter told Aunt May to run away, but she stood there protecting him. Then, out of the blue, the goblin's glider swooped in from the side and made a move on her. Before leaving, the goblin threw several bombs, one of which was aimed at Aunt May. Peter tries to protect Aunt May. Then, oh no, a massive explosion occurs at the site. A little while later, Peter and Aunt May wake up. Peter feels so bad about what happened to them. He says he should have followed Dr. Strange's instructions. Aunt May tells Peter that he did the right thing, and he's so happy that he did. He's incredibly smart and strong, and he's got the best intentions. He wants to help everyone, and he's the perfect example of what it means to use your power responsibly. Then, out of the blue, Aunt May suddenly collapses. She's losing a lot of blood. Peter is heartbroken as he watches Aunt May take her last breath. Happy arrives, but he can't help Peter because the police have surrounded the area. I'm so happy for Happy. He was just arrested by the police. He shouts at Peter to escape, but Peter doesn't respond. Elsewhere, after hearing the heartbreaking news that Aunt May had died in the explosion, Ned and MJ tried to contact Peter, but unfortunately, they received no response. MJ was so excited to press the button on the magic box, but Ned stopped her. He was looking forward to meeting Peter soon. As Ned shared his heart's desire, a little portal appeared. It was a magical moment when Ned realized he could use Dr. Strange's ring to make a portal. MJ asked Ned to create a portal to where Peter was. Ned opened the portal, and there was Spider-Man. He was standing in an alley. They immediately called out to him. It turned out to be Peter Parker from another universe, Peter Andrew. MJ, who was a bit doubtful, kindly asked Peter Andrew to show him his Spider-Man skills. After Peter Andrew walked on the ceiling, MJ and Ned believed him. Then, Ned opened the portal again, and this time, Peter Toby from another universe stepped through. MJ said that Peter Tom really needed help. However, at that moment, Peter Tom was unfortunately unavailable. Then Peter Toby said that Peter Tom might be meditating somewhere that makes him feel calm. MJ remembered the school roof, where they would often rest. They all rushed over. And wouldn't you know it, Peter Tom was there. MJ gave Peter Tom a big hug. She then shared with him the incredible news that there were 2 other Spider-Men from different universes who had also journeyed here. Peter Tom is ready to use the magic box to send everyone back to their own universe, but Peter Toby and Peter Andrew stop him. They both hear that Peter Tom is trying to make an antidote for the villains so they can be cured. But now, Peter Tom has decided to stop making the antidote. He wants all the villains to die, especially the Green Goblin who killed Aunt May. Peter Toby and Peter Andrew, who have a lot more experience, gently encourage Peter Tom to let go of his negative thoughts. They remind him that taking the lives of the people he harbors negative feelings towards won't bring about positive change. They explain that it will only cause him further suffering. After hearing their advice, Peter Tom finally comes to his senses. He's absolutely convinced that Aunt May would want him to keep on being a hero who helps everyone. The 3 of them then decided to work together to help the criminals before sending them back to their respective universes. The 3 Spider-Men were so smart. They had no trouble making antidotes for each of the criminals. Once they had all the antidotes ready, they thought of a great plan to bring the villains together in one place. Peter Tom called the Daily Bugle and, during a live broadcast, invited the villains to come to the ruins of the Statue of Liberty. If they didn't, he would press the button on the magic box and send them back. A few moments later, Max arrived. He asked Peter nicely for the magic box. But Peter Tom, in a selfless act, gave the box to MJ, kindly suggesting that she and Ned escape. Poor Ned tried to close the portal, but he just couldn't manage it. Meanwhile, Peter Andrew tried to convince Max to let himself be treated, but Max refused. Meanwhile, Peter Toby had a run-in with Connors, the Lizard Man. Then the Sandman, who was named Flint, also attacked Peter Tom. Things got a little crazy because these 3 Spider-Men had never worked together before. Peter Tom, who had once been part of the Avengers, kindly gave instructions for the 3 of them to focus on one opponent at a time. They decided to start by healing Flint. The 3 Spider-Men worked together until Flint was finally healed and returned to being a normal human. Then it was Max's turn. They had to retrieve the arc reactor from Max's body. The Spider-Men tried to be friends with Max, but Max was scared and kept attacking. Meanwhile, Peter Tom was there to help MJ and Ned, who were being chased by the Lizard Men. Then MJ kindly gave the antidote to Peter Tom. Peter was able to give Connors the antidote, and thankfully, it worked. He was able to turn him back into a regular human. On the other hand, Peter Toby and Peter Andrew are a little overwhelmed by Max. Then, out of the blue, Dr. Otto shows up. One of his tentacles lovingly pulls the arc reactor out of Max's chest and replaces it with an electric suction device. I'm so happy to tell you that Max is finally all better and back to his usual self. Then, Ned opened a portal to hide the magic box, but Dr. Strange emerged from the portal. He eagerly took his ring and magic box. He was just about to press the button on the box when Ned let him know that Peter had successfully healed the villains. Then, in a heartwarming moment, Dr. Strange encounters the 3 Spidermen. He's looking to put an end to things. But then, Green Goblin shows up out of the blue and grabs the magic box from Dr. Strange's hands. Otto heroically steps in to help, successfully distracting Green Goblin while Dr. Strange deftly retrieves the box. But oh dear, there's a bomb inside the box. It bursts open, releasing all the spells that were held inside. The spells were getting out of hand. Dr. Strange tried to hold them back, but he couldn't. The spells began to open a rift between universes in the sky. In the next scene, Peter Tom faced Green Goblin. Peter, who was still feeling pretty upset, was determined to end his life. They fought fiercely, but with love and respect for one another. Peter Tom beat Goblin over and over again. Then, he took a glider to kill Green Goblin. But then Peter Toby suddenly stops him. From behind, the Green Goblin stabs Peter Toby. Peter Andrew then lovingly administers the antidote serum to the Goblin. Peter Tom immediately injects the serum, and it works like a charm. Thankfully, Norman Osborn finally regained consciousness and was no longer possessed by the Green Goblin. Thankfully, Peter Toby is doing well. The stab wound wasn't too deep. Then Peter Tom went to see Dr. Strange because he saw the sky filled with cracks between universes. Dr. Strange mentioned that creatures from other universes who knew Peter as Spider-Man were starting to enter our world. The only way to stop them was to recast the memory-erasing spell. But this time, everyone had to let go of who Peter Parker was, not just that he was Spider-Man. Peter finally asked Dr. Strange to do it, and he was so happy to help. He was ready to accept the consequences, even though he knew that everyone who knew and loved him would no longer recognize him. Dr. Strange showed some reluctance, but Peter gently encouraged him, assuring him that this was the only way. Dr. Strange kindly reminded Peter to say goodbye before finishing the spell. Then, Peter Tom said goodbye to the other 2 Spider-Men, Peter Toby and Peter Andrew. Their meeting was short, but Peter Tom was very grateful for all their help. The 3 of them embraced, their hearts filled with warmth and support, before Peter Toby and Peter Andrew returned to their own universes. After that, Peter approached MJ and Ned. He told them that Dr. Strange would soon cast a spell that would make everyone forget who he was. MJ and Ned were shocked and saddened by the news. MJ asked Peter to promise that he would meet them again after everything was over and remind them who he was. Peter promised, his voice cracking with emotion. They embraced each other one last time before the spell began. After Dr. Strange finished his spell, one by one, the people from the other universes disappeared and returned to their original places. The world went back to normal, but now, no one knew who Peter Parker was. A little while later, Peter went to MJ's workplace, which was a coffee shop. He was determined to keep his promise and reconnect with MJ and Ned. There, Peter saw MJ and Ned chatting and smiling. They both looked so happy, and it was so wonderful to see that Ned had been accepted into MIT. Peter decided not to reveal his identity. He realized that maybe their lives could be better without him. Peter left without revealing his identity. After that, Peter went to visit Aunt May's grave. There, he met Happy, who also didn't recognize him. They chatted about May, who had always been so kind and helpful. Now a student at MIT, Peter rented a small apartment and lived alone. Then, with a big smile, he sewed himself a brand new Spider-Man costume. This time, we're going to do it without the help of advanced technology. He returned to action as Spider-Man, with no one knowing who was behind the mask. Meanwhile, in another universe, Eddie Brock, Venom, returned to his own world. He had been drawn into this universe by Doctor Strange's spell. But oh no, he accidentally left a tiny piece of the symbiote on the bar counter. It's a little bit of a hint that Venom might be making a comeback sometime soon. Alright everyone, that's the story of the movie Spider-Man No Way Home. If you like it, please leave a like and a comment with your thoughts. Thank you for watching.